on Manchester United, is sort of, we've touched them a few times in that conversation, that the Jadon Sancho links, of course, continue on. That every day now there seems to be, personal terms agreed. Jan Fjortov said that Jadon Sancho can't believe it's a done deal. A lot of reports of it just is the sort of financial structure now in terms of how the installments are paid and what triggers the bonuses, which I find really interesting. Around Dortmund want it to be more related to club income as opposed to player achievements and things like that. What's the latest on Sancho, but Man United sort of midfield search in general?
Well, of course, Dortmund want that. They know United are better at making money than they are at winning the league at the moment. So that makes sense that Dortmund would be looking down that path. The Sancho vibe is still good from United's angle. It's hard to get a proper grasp of where we're at in terms of the fee right now, but I'm still told that £80 million is really the ceiling for United. They're very keen not to be seen to be going over that, and however this settles, they would like it that it's reported as an £80 million transfer and no more than that. That's what I'm told and what I've been hearing for quite some time now. So I still think that that's the case. It's certainly looking like a transfer now that is very likely to happen. I was speaking to somebody yesterday who said, look, the next storyline will be, does he get the number 7 shirt? Like that, we can almost start to talk about it in those terms, because people are becoming so confident that where the two clubs are, it's nowhere near as far apart as it was a year ago. Yeah. And there's more of a willingness on both sides to get this done now. They have to be careful themselves and they have to manage their squad. So that process is underway and they're looking at options there and how they can trim their own squad to bring in Grealish and Kane. But they are their top 2 targets. And again, they're putting themselves at the top there. They're starting with the players that they know would improve their starting 11 and would give them a chance again to win the Premier League and, of course, to try and finally win the Champions League. Yeah. So, and that's a good place to be starting out. And then it's only from there that you're like, if Tottenham are like, if Kane's just not gettable, then they'll move on. But they need to find out, first of all, like, I do think City will make a bid for Harry Kane because you need to test Daniel Levy's resolve. Yes. He seems a little bit all over the place at the moment in his decision making, and I think that'll give Man City some hope. He was always like, Mourinho wanted a sporting director. He's like, no. And then Mourinho leaves and he gets a sporting director. And then that sporting director brings in a manager that had been pretty much dismissed a few weeks before. And now he's in there and fans aren't really sure what's happening. And Levy's saying, well, this guy's the man. And Levy doesn't normally do that. He's normally quite happy to say, I make all the decisions at this football club. And he's not doing that publicly for the first time. Also remember that he was ready to go back on his decision over Pochettino. Like, Levy never admits that he's made mistakes. Yeah. He was willing to do it over Pochettino. So all these little decisions that Levy's making just make me wonder. I checked this last night. I text a good Spurs contact and I said, I'm just thinking this through in my head right now. Like, what do you think? He's like, Levy is adamant it will take more than £150 million for him to sell Harry Kane. Like, that is all I can tell you. Like, that's where he's sitting right now. That's fine. But if Man City on the table put down, I don't know, £110 million opening offer, that changes things because suddenly
it's real.
It's real. And Harry Kane knows there's an offer of £110 million on the table. Spurs have that money there waiting. And as you say, it's real. And it's not hypothetical anymore. And you have to actually consider it. And even though he might be like, no, go away, he's having to actually think about it. Until now, he's been able to dismiss it because there's never actually anything coming in for Harry Kane. You've got to put him in a situation where he has got a decision to make.
I could not agree with you more with that. There's always this thing of everything. I've always been told this in life, and we'll keep it to normal things. Everything's for sale at the right price. I was at, and when you've got billionaires that own your club, it's even more so. I was very fortunate at an event I was at with some of our clients when I used to work for a private bank, and I was so out of my depth that the money everybody had there was ridiculous. Like, for me, it was a case of I was in awe of these people, and there was this car. and it was this car that was going to be built in about 5 to 10 years' time. And I don't remember the manufacturer, but it looked like a Batmobile. It was amazing. It was a shell. There was no seats. There was no windows. There was no mechanics on the inside. There was a billionaire who on the day got into an argument with them and ended up spending £3 million buying it. They said it isn't a car. He said, but I want it now. I want it before anybody. It's not a car. It's a shell. I want it though. And he ended up buying it on the day. When you're dealing with people that are richer than the richest people in the world, they can do amazing things. So that was my lesson of everything is. They said it isn't for sale. It isn't for sale. In the end, when he said £3 million, I think they thought this maybe cost 20 grand to build. So let's sell it. Why would you not? Like, it was amazing. I remember. So that's my view on these things. Everything's not for sale until a proper offer comes in. And I love my house. Someone came and made me an offer right now that was more than its valuation. I'd be like, listen, pack the kids' clothes up. We're off. Like, we're off. Like it would just happen. And I think that what City, it's going to be an interesting summer. And I think one thing that's for sure is it feels like everybody's kind of treading here. The Sancho deal could be the marker. The Kane deal could be the marker. It's almost waiting for a big deal, a big club to happen for people to say, right, if Sancho's worth X, then we can work everything else around it. And there's nothing really going on right now. But who do you see leaving City? Who do you think is going to be sort of the casualties of this? We've seen like Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, Sterling, all their names have been mentioned. What's the likelihood of big players leaving?
Yeah, I mean, Bernardo Silva has kind of caught everyone out a bit, but I've checked it out and it does really sound like Bernardo Silva will leave Man City. And I think that's quite a surprise to everybody. And it's definitely not that Man City don't like Bernardo Silva. It's just that this doesn't seem to be a place he's particularly happy. And I think he would love to go and play in La Liga now. And Man City, ultimately, when a player makes up their mind like this, typically they don't stand in their way, not for too long anyway. You know, I think Leroy Sané, back to that, it seemed weird that Leroy Sané would have left at that point. And he did leave. And it can happen again here, and I think it probably will if the right offer comes along. I think what's important, you just said with Bernardo, transfer rumour that, you know, Atletico Madrid, for example, would propose that Sal Niguez goes into Man City and all the rest of it. It's like, well, no, Man City aren't going to just take somebody else's player because they're told to. Like, they've got their own plans. They want Jack Grealish and Harry Kane. If you want Bernardo Silva, you pay us what we want for Bernardo Silva and what his valuation is. And then we come back from there and then we move on. So I do think Bernardo is a possible. I don't think Raheem Sterling will go. Riyad Mahrez being spoken about. I mean, there's not really any interest in him at this point. And so there's nowhere really for him to go at this point.